another 2 weeks and another fairy tale chapter. And I have to say, this chapter for Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest was honestly even better than the last one. In the last chapter, we got the reveal that Kirin's Dragon Slayer abilities were obtained by devouring the Dragon Alexian, the Thunder Dragon King, who in turn was the original owner of Laxus's Dragon Slayer Lacrima. And Dragon Slayer Lacrimas are processed dragon hearts, so a whole big thing with the last chapter, and it was a really good fight as well the fact that the soul of Alexian was in the coffin that Kirin's been lugging around this entire arc, thus adding a bit more weight to Kirin's strength. But it also gave us the question, how did he kill Alexian, and what's Laxus gonna do to defeat him right now? Because Laxus is a powerhouse in and of himself with just the Dragon Slayer Lacrima, and if we assume that devouring the flesh of this dragon king makes him even stronger, how is Laxus going to get out of this? And this chapter actually does conclude the battle between Laxus and Kirin, seemingly, and even give us some backstory to how Kirin gained his abilities. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows that you guys really do enjoy the fairy tale content on this channel. As of right now, some of the previous reviews that I've done have reached 1,000 views, and that is honestly really great, and it shows how much you guys are enjoying me covering Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. So I will continue to cover 100 Years Quest on the channel for the foreseeable future. And I have to say, I'm really enjoying it even more now that I'm able to talk about it with you guys. But let's hit that intro and get right into the chapter. Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Chapter 110, A Grudgeful Voice. And I like how the cover image is just Laxus with his hand on his chest where the Dragon Slayer Lacrima is, with the shadow of his father right behind him, as this was in fact forced upon him when he was a child because of his father, and he never really wanted this power to begin with. So we begin the chapter with the face-off between Kirin and Laxus, as Kirin then begins to swing his coffin right towards Laxus, as Laxus manages to dodge the attack and land a kick, which Kirin then in fact blocks. Kirin then unleashes a barrage of attacks on Laxus, knocking him back, stating, "Did you really think you could beat a king?" And then Kirin throws Alexian's coffin, it opens up, and he encloses Laxus within it. Now this contains Alexian's soul, and Kirin is laughing maniacally, saying, "Now is the chance to eat him. Reclaim your heart. Devour Laxus and be whole." As we see the inside of the coffin, pure energy just trying to engulf and devour Laxus. As we then cut to 30 years in the past to a wasteland, and we see the Dragon King Alexian dead on the ground with a child Kirin and George, the former master of the Diablos Dragon Slayer Guild. So this 100% confirms that regular dragons and even dragon kings outside of the 5 dragon gods were still alive somewhere in the world, and even on this particular continent, meaning that the dragon slayers in this continent, in this guild, actually ate live dragons. So that's something that is just freaking insane to think about, and it was implied, but now this is straight up 100% confirmed. But anyway, in this flashback, George is telling Kirin to eat the flesh of the Dragon King, as we then cut to afterwards with the bones of Alexian right behind them, as it seems they grilled it on a barbecue and in the fire. Kirin then brings up the point of why can't he eat the dragon's heart, as George says, "I'm gonna sell it on the continent down south. Maybe there's some shady wizard who will process his heart into a gem." We all know this to be, well, Laxus' father. So that's something, but it took a while for this heart to make it into the hands of Alexei and then give it to Laxus. So that's pretty interesting. Here we then cut to Kirin as he seems to be haunted by non-stop nightmares, asking if that's the dragon's curse. George says there's no such thing. They're dragon eaters. Eating dragons is what they do, as Kirin continues to tremble in fear and toss and turn in the night as he hears Alexian's voice. "Return my heart to me. If you took my life, then take responsibility. Where is my heart? Return it. As this is torturing a child Kirin, But then Wraith, one of the Dragon Slayers of Diablos, I'm not going to get into who he is, because we all know at this point, ends up asking if Kirin is alright. Kirin explains that this is probably the spirit of Alexian haunting him, and Wraith gives him a locked box to put Kirin's soul within, saying that he'll give it to him. Wraith says that the spirit still has a lingering attachment to this world, and it can't be erased, just as Wraith himself can't be erased from the world. Kirin stole his life, and he has to accept that responsibility. He has no choice but to hear his voice and live with him, as we then cut back to the present, with the voice in Kirin's head saying, "Return my heart." As he's still saying, "The time is now, Alexian," as the coffin begins to shine brightly, and the coffin begins to crack and break, with Kirin saying, "This is what you are looking for, the man who has your heart." And as the coffin breaks, we see the lacrima, the crystal, a gem, the lacrima that Laxus had, covered in blood, as the next panel is Laxus holding the Dragon Slayer lacrima that he had embedded in his chest in his hand as he yanked it out of him, shocking Kirin. Now that was a badass moment. Laxus said in the previous chapter he had no attachment to the lacrima, and he reaffirms that now by removing the lacrima from his chest, effectively no longer making him a Dragon Slayer, I believe. I'm not sure if the magic is already within his body permanently, since it's been in his body for so long. But yeah, Laxus got sick of the whole eat it devour crap when it came to his lacrima, so he got rid of it. And then we see the essence of Alexian swirling around in the air, going around Laxus. Laxus says there's one huge thing you've got the wrong idea about. Laxus heard Alexian's voice in the coffin. After all those years, that Kirin would think that being together would make Alexian attached to him. But no, Alexian didn't think about him at all. The proud king of thunder dragons just kept thinking about getting his heart back, and his soul kept wandering, looking to protect his dignity and slay the one who desecrated his body. And Alexian's like, he did it to kill me? As Laxus then gets the swirling soul energy in the air in his hand and begins to devour Alexian's soul, and then he gets ready to land to attack Kirin in this one instance, as Laxus says that the power is like roaring thunder, and begins to charge up his crimson lightning, his red lightning, and then lands a powerful attack, a new attack, Thunder Dragon King's red lightning, knocking Kirin back and defeating him. As Laxus just slaps and says, "You thought I heard Alexian's voice, huh? I was just playing you. That was magic power. So I ate it. Now I feel free from my dad's stupid curse." As the chapter ends with the final panel being the Dragon Slayer lacrima fallen on the ground, covered in Laxus's blood. So, here's a question. Is Laxus a new Dragon Slayer generation now? Because I do know that the second generation Dragon Slayers are those with Dragon Slayer lacrima. Third generations are with lacrima, but were trained and given power by dragons as well. And then there's the fourth generation from the Dragon Slayer, from the Dragon's Cry movie, which I forgot what's all about them. Then fifth generation, which is the Dragon Eaters of Diablos. And now Laxus literally just devoured the soul of Alexian, or the leftover residual powers of Alexian. So that's probably become one with him. So is he now a sixth generation because of that? I'm kind of confused on that. I need some actual confirmation. But it's still a really cool moment. Just a really, really cool moment. Laxus got rid of the lacrima that he never even wanted, the power that he never even wanted in the first place. He already had lightning magic, but was just given lightning dragon powers from his father to make him stronger. And now he managed to take on someone who devoured the actual flesh and body of the dragon his lacrima came from, and seemingly had the soul of the dragon within it. Now, I do believe that was actually Alexian's soul, but his soul became pure magic power after being sealed in that coffin, in those objects by Wraith for so long, and it just kept building and building and building in there, as it did have an attachment to Laxus, since it kept getting pulled towards Laxus due to the fact that he had Alexian's heart. So now it's possible that Laxus is probably similar to like Natsu, Gajil, Wendy, and the fact that they have the powers from the original dragons, just without the lacrima. Or I could be entirely wrong, and Laxus is no longer a Dragon Slayer and just has these new OP lightning powers. But I'm still in the camp that Laxus is still a Dragon Slayer even without the lacrima. He managed to devour seemingly the power of a dragon and devoured it, so I still consider him the Lightning Dragon Slayer, and maybe now the new Lightning or Thunder Dragon King, which I think is really cool, and that's like a new mode or attack state for Laxus, and he got a really good power up. He managed to take down Kirin in one hit from that by absorbing Alexian's soul or magic power. But yeah, this chapter was pretty great. While I wish the fight dragged on like an extra chapter and just have a little bit more of a back and forth, because this was like 2 chapters long in comparison to the previous fight, which was more or less off screen. However, we are definitely going to get back to Natsu and Suzaku versus Lacrima, as that is the only battle going on at the moment, unless the other Diablo's Dragon Slayer Knights get back up, but they're probably done for a little while now, and I'm still in the camp that Celine's going to do something to get everyone out of Doggerman's way once he starts to actually go all out and use all of his powers. But yeah, that was the chapter, and those were honestly my thoughts on it. Laxus was a true badass to the very end, and he seemingly got a really good power-up, got rid of the Dragon Slayer Lacrima in his chest, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. And I do consider him to still be a Dragon Slayer now that he got Alexian's soul, or just pure magic power, within his body now, so I think he's a lot stronger now than he was with the previous Dragon Slayer Lacrima, and now with the soul. But what do you guys think? Do you consider Laxus still a Dragon Slayer? Do you still think that the soul that he devoured, the power that he devoured, was truly Alexian's soul or just leftover residual magic? Do you really think that he is still considered a Dragon Slayer now that the Lacrima is no longer in his chest, and was like the attack he just used now just a one and done? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below on the whole Dragon Slayer generation stuff and lock down below. I do read like every single comment, and I try and interact with you guys a lot in the comments. I try and do that as much as I possibly can. But this is something that I really want to think about, as this could actually be like a nice video topic in the future. And what do you think is going to happen next in the next chapter when we cut back to the battle against the Earth Dragon God Doggermog? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel once more, showing just how much you enjoy me covering Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, as I do want to keep covering it on the channel, and I've been enjoying covering it ever since I started it. Also, if you want to support the channel more directly and see me do a lot more bigger videos outside of my chapter reviews, go check out my Patreon and my Ko-fi accounts, link in the description and in the title card up above. Any and all help would be very much appreciated. And with all that said and done, I know this was a very short video, but I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.